people? It's your boy Big Norm, and welcome to Big Norm TV. Now, if you're watching via Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, thank you very much for your support. If you're watching this through YouTube, hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe to my channel, watch all my previous videos on Big Norm TV at YouTube. If you're on Instagram, go to Instagram TV and Big Norm TV at Instagram. Also on Facebook, go to Big Norm TV Facebook page. Like, become a Northsayer, join Big Norm Nation, and I appreciate all the love support. Don't forget the Everyday Norm podcast. I will be dropping another episode of the podcast real soon. Now, been under the weather for a couple of weeks. No, it's not Corona, at least I don't think, but I'm feeling a lot better. But now we're in pollen season in Georgia, so on top of the Corona, so it's making it very, very difficult around here in these parts. But I want to get straight to the point, okay? For those who have been affected by the coronavirus, for those who have been sick and are in the midst of this epidemic, this pandemic, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. We're praying for your speedy recovery. And for those who have lost loved ones because of this virus, our thoughts and prayers are with you as well. And let's remember those who have lost their lives because of this coronavirus. With that said, we all know that because of this coronavirus pandemic, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed. The sports season, NBA, MLB, things like that, either have suspended or delayed their openers or their seasons. So it's being affected. We see the effects all across the board in our everyday way of life. Now people are wearing masks on a regular basis. They're wiping down everything on a regular basis. Even myself, I carry some disinfectant wipes in my truck and wipe things down just to be on the safe side and so forth. So this has definitely changed our normal way of life. We haven't seen anything like this drastic, in my opinion, since 9/11. Now, the question has come up, and this is the topic for Big Norm TV. The question has come up in reference to churches. The church, should the church close? Should the church close their doors on Sunday morning service? Okay, now, before we get started, I would love to hear your feedback. So drop a comment in this video below, okay? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, all right? Now, should the church cancel service in the wake of the coronavirus? Now, the government, I think, has issued an order. I don't know if it's an order, but they're saying they leave limited social gatherings to 50 people or less. Or I think the states have decided to do this. And I know in the state of Georgia, it has been reduced down to, I think, maybe 10, no more than 10 people. Now, we know a church would need a lot more than 10 people on Sunday morning service. We get that, okay? But should the church close? I have mixed feelings about this, and I'm going to give you a few reasons why. Now, I'm going to play both sides of this so I can be fair on how people fall, on which side people fall on this. But here's my take. First and foremost, the church, at one point, it should be the cornerstone of the community. It should be the one place where people feel that they can come, where they can feel relaxed, they can be able to worship God in spirit and truth, the way that they see fit, however they choose to do it, whether you agree with it or not, okay? Now, in this case, I have mixed feelings because on one side, you're talking about the assembly of fellowship. You're talking about religion. You're talking about spiritual. You're talking about your personal relationship with God. So I'm trying to put myself in a mindset of a pastor. If I were a pastor of a church, would I cancel my services for a couple of weeks until things smooth out, maybe got a little better conditions concerning coronavirus, wasn't as bad as to the point where it is now? And I'm not really sure what I would do because this is the church, and people are saying you should have faith, you should believe God, and don't doubt and everything. And I agree with that because the Bible says faith is something things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So I'm a firm believer in faith. I have faith. I'm also looking at this from another angle. Now, I was always been told when it comes to things, you have salvation in one hand, common sense in another. What do I mean by that? I'm thinking about it like this. I have to think from a legal perspective, all right? And walk with me with us. Let's say a pastor decides to not only open his doors to church, but also exceed the number that has been requested by the federal government or the state, whatever the case may be. And before I get on that, because of that, we've seen so many different sports that are still active, like UFC. Just this past weekend, I was out with the missus and we're watching on a TV in a restaurant a UFC fight, but there were no people in the audience other than essential personnel. If you're a wrestling fan, if you've been watching Raw, you've been watching SmackDown, you've been watching NXT, you've been watching AEW, you notice they have been performing in empty arenas, no crowd whatsoever. Okay, so let's say a preacher decides to tell everybody, don't worry about it, come to church like you normally would. The church is full. Well, the church is full. You have more than what is being allowed or is being requested. Someone in the church, either a visitor or a member, a potential carrier, and they may not even know that they have it, or they're misreading the symptoms, thinking it's something other than possibly coronavirus, comes into the church. And there's a lot of different information that's out there, but I'm hearing reports that, you're breathing and that the virus could stay airborne for up to 3 hours. Now, we know a lot of times churches go from 2 to 3 hours, depending on what kind of church you go to, okay? Everyone in the edifice, everyone in the church, in the sanctuary, is breathing this contaminated air that someone had brought in, willingly or not. Now, everyone leaves. Now, the symptoms start to come in, and it's multiple people, okay? So then they're doing their research, and the doctors are asking people questions. Have you been in large gatherings? Have you traveled abroad? When did you first start experiencing symptoms? Or if someone just decides, you know what, I want to be on the safe side, so I'm going to go and get tested. And they find out they have tested positive for corona. If it gets back that they attend the service, multiple people attend the same service, and someone who was there had it, and it was see that the number that has been requested by the government and the state, now you're looking at a legal issue with the church. The person or persons who got sick could decide to file charges against the church for negligence, whatever the case may be. So I see both sides of this, but people need to understand something. Understand something. There's a part of church that is business. What do I mean? Well, guess what? When you go to church, you like to have some working lights, right? When you go to church, you want to have running water to either drink, wash your hands, use the restroom. When you go to church, when it's cold outside, you want your church to have working heat. When it's hot outside, you want working air conditioning. So there is a business side to church. Now, I'm not saying don't support the church. I'm not saying don't give your offering, don't give your tithe. I'm not saying that at all, because I pay my tithes. I'm a strong believer in tithe paying. You can do whatever you want. You believe whatever you want, but I'm going to pay my tithes. I just find it funny that for people, to me, people complain about not paying tithes and how preachers are doing this and doing that with the money, but you don't say anything about the American government, and they're taking a lot more than 10%. But anyway, the thing is, that should not be the focus of any pastor, any preacher, to, well, don't worry about it. If you can't come to church, so you can still put your here. You can take this app or this. That shouldn't be the focus, especially if these preachers, these pastors are not going out to the community and serving the people that they want to come into the church, whether they be members, whether it be family members of members. The community needs help. People are being laid off, even if it's on a temporary basis. Parents are deciding how to feed their family. Schools in the state of Georgia, every last school in the state of Georgia is closed. Elementary school, middle school, high school, and colleges, all of them are shut down. Every college classes have been converted to online in the state of Georgia. all colleges, HBCUs, UGA, Albany State, whatever the case may be. There had been a surge in purchase of water, toilet paper, milk, egg, cheese, the usual stuff. So people out here are hurting. So I'm not going to say don't support your church, because guess what? The church still needs funding. Okay, guess what, people? When you're not at church, guess what? They still get a monthly bill. Whether they use the facility or not, whether they have a light on or not, they're still using the facility. They're still being charged every single month, even though they use the building maybe 2-3 times a week. So I get the money aspect, the financial side of the church, but that shouldn't be the focus. And if any preacher that is out here putting more emphasis on people paying tithe and submitting money to the church and not coming out of the church and serving the people of God, that is a problem. And that is a pastor I'd be very, very, very weary of. But I see both sides. Now, if I were a pastor, I really don't know. I really do not know. But that's where I pray that pastors are being led by God on what to do. Because like I said, it's a slippery slope. You don't want to deny the people fellowship, but at the same time, you don't want to put people at risk. So you can have all the salvation you want. You can love God. You can support the ministry, and that's good. But also use some common sense with this. Also use common sense. I'll put it to you like this. In the Bible days, if people were sick, they had to be separated from the rest of the population. If you had, like, they call it palsy or issue of blood, you had to be separated. If you were not separated, you were contagious and you could infect possibly other people. Why is it we can't take that same approach when it comes to church? Case in point, how many of us want to be around a person if they just have a cold? Have a cold. How many times you seen this, someone throw this up at you, or they do this towards you, and you just sneeze or you cough before this pandemic came out, and you might have the sniffles, you might have a cold. I'm not even talking about anything like the flu or anything like that. So why would we not take the same approach when it comes to coronavirus? We have to be proactive about this, but be smart about it. If you're not feeling well, if you are sick, stay at home. I had to do it. Quick story. I've been out of work. I just got back. Been out of work for about 2.5, 3 weeks because I had bronchitis. And the entire time, and this was before everything broke out, I decided to take the time that I needed, because I didn't want to put anybody at risk, because I wasn't sure if my bronchitis could even be a catalyst to for someone to get the coronavirus, because my immune system was weakened, which means their immune system could be weakened, which put them at a high risk of testing positive for the coronavirus. And those who have pre-existing conditions are having a harder time with this virus than opposed to someone who doesn't. So out of concern for my coworkers, I didn't want to put anybody at risk. I didn't want anyone upset or mad at me because I got them sick, because I decided to come to work. But you know what? Some jobs won't allow their employees to take that time off. So you got like police officers, law enforcement, they can't take that time off. Nurses, doctors, they can't take that time. And for all the people who can't take that time off, who can't do those things, you need to give them a shout out and appreciate what they do. Appreciate what they do. But that's going to do it for Big Norm TV. Like I said, I'm on the fence about it. If the preachers decide not to, I can't knock that. If they decide to do it, I can't knock that, because my faith is strong, but I got to use some common sense in the process. Okay, so that's going to do it for Big Norm TV. Tell me what you think about this episode. Drop a line in the comment section below. I want to hear from you. Hit the like button on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. If you're on Instagram, please go to Big Norm TV at Instagram. If you're on Facebook, go to the page Big Norm TV at Facebook. Hit the like button. Become a Norm Sayer. Join Big Norm Nation. So I pray to God that each and every one of you stay safe. And I love you all with the love of Jesus. And God bless you. And hopefully I will see you in the next video.